The world is too loud. There is a kind of noise that has nothing to do with sound. It lives inside you. It is the voice that replays the argument you had 3 years ago. The voice that rehearses what you should have said. The voice that scrolls through every regret, every missed turn, every door that closed before you could walk through it. It is the voice of other people's opinions, living rent-free in the house of your mind. And after 50 years of living in this world, that noise has accumulated, layer upon layer. Like sediment at the bottom of a river. Think about a bell, a great iron bell, the kind you find in old cathedrals or Buddhist monasteries. When it is struck, it rings. Loudly, beautifully even, but eventually, the sound fades. And what remains is something far more powerful than the ringing. What remains is the silence after. That silence is not empty. It is full. It is alive. It vibrates with everything the bell was trying to say. Most people spend their entire lives chasing the ring. The applause, the argument, the reaction, the validation, they mistake noise for meaning. But the wisest people, the ones who have walked long enough on this earth to know the difference, they have learned to chase the silence after. After 50, something shifts in you. Or it should. The urgency of your 20s begins to quiet. The performance of your 30s loses its audience. The grinding ambition of your 40s starts to feel hollow. And for the first time in your life, you have permission, real permission, to stop performing and start listening. Listening to what? To the deepest, truest version of yourself. The one that was always there. Waiting. Patient as stone. Quiet as dawn. Today, we are going to explore 5 specific silences. Not the silence of giving up. Not the silence of defeat, but the silence of mastery. The silence of a person who has seen enough of life to know what deserves their energy and what does not. These 5 silences are not easy. They require courage, real courage, the kind that doesn't make noise. Are you ready? Number 1, the silence of observation. Imagine a mountain, not a hill. A mountain, ancient, unmovable, its peak brushed by clouds, its roots sunk so deep into the earth that no storm, no earthquake, no force of wind has ever truly shaken it. Now imagine a storm, wild, loud, throwing lightning and rain and fury in every direction. The storm demands attention. It demands a reaction. It fills the sky with its noise and says, look at me, respond to me, be afraid of me, and the mountain. The mountain says nothing, not because it cannot speak, but because it does not need to. After 50, you have seen enough storms to know this truth. Most of them pass. Most of the crises that demanded your immediate reaction, the office drama, the family argument, the social media outrage, they dissolved on their own, without your intervention, without your energy, without your voice. And yet, how many of those storms did you run into? How many times did you feel the pull, that ancient animal pull, to react, to defend, to correct, to respond? Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote in his private journals, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Read that again slowly. Power over your mind, not over events, not over people. Not over what they say or do or think about you, over your mind. The silence of observation is the practice of watching life before engaging with it. It is the decision, and it is always a decision, to pause before reacting. To look before leaping, to breathe before speaking. This is not passivity. Do not confuse silence with weakness. A surgeon is silent before she makes the cut. A chess grandmaster is silent while she studies the board. A wise elder is silent before offering counsel. Their silence is not emptiness. It is concentration. It is power being gathered rather than scattered. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese sage who gave us the Tao Te Ching, said, "Silence is a source of great strength, a source of weakness. Not a consolation prize for those who have nothing to say. Strength. Here is a practice for you. The next time someone says something that triggers you, a careless comment from a family member, a dismissive tone from someone younger, a political opinion that makes your blood rise, try this. Do not speak for 30 seconds, 30 seconds. That is all. Breathe. Watch. Observe. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Does this deserve my energy? Will this matter in 1 year? In most cases, the answer will be no. No. And no. Rumi, the 13th century Sufi poet whose words have outlasted empires, wrote, "Silence is the language of God, all else is poor translation." After 50, you begin to understand what he meant. You stop needing to translate everything into words, into arguments, into proof. You begin to simply know, and knowing you watch, and watching you become the mountain. Number 2, the silence of not defending yourself. Here is a question for you. How much of your life, how many hours, how many days, how many years, Have you spent explaining yourself to people who were never going to understand you anyway? Think about it honestly. Explaining your choices to relatives who didn't approve. Defending your career path to people who chose differently. Justifying your marriage, your divorce, your faith, your lack of it, your money, your moves, your silence, your noise. Exhausting, wasn't it? There is a particular kind of freedom that comes to those who have lived long enough to realize this truth. You do not owe anyone an explanation for the life you are building. Not your children. Not your siblings. Not old friends who remember who you used to be. Not strangers on the internet. Not the voice inside your own head that sounds suspiciously like your most critical parent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." Self-respect. That is the key word. Because every time you scramble to defend yourself to someone who has already made up their mind about you, you lose a little of it. You trade your dignity for their approval. And their approval, you have learned by now, is not for sale in any currency you can afford. After 50, something magnificent becomes available to you. A kind of settledness, a groundedness, the ability to look at someone who misunderstands you completely, confidently misunderstands you, and simply smile. Not a bitter smile. Not a defeated smile, a peaceful one. Because here is the secret that the young have not yet discovered. Being misunderstood by the wrong people is a sign that you are finally becoming yourself. If everyone understood you, you would be too generic to be real. Lao Tzu understood this deeply. He wrote, "Care about what other people think and you will always be their prisoner." Their prisoner. Living in a cell built from their opinions. Eating meals of their approval. Dreaming their version of your life instead of your own. After 50, it is time to walk out of that prison. And the door was never locked. The silence of not defending yourself does not mean you stop caring about truth. It means you stop performing truth for an audience that was never really watching in good faith. It means you do the right thing and then go home, quietly. It means you live well and let that be the only argument you make. Rumi said it with a grace no logic could match. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. That field is silence. That field is where the truly free people live. Where no one needs to win an argument because no one is keeping score anymore. Go there. Stay there. It is yours. Number 3, the silence of the past. You carry a story. We all do. A long, complicated, sometimes beautiful, sometimes devastating story about who you were, what happened to you, what you did, what was done to you, what you lost, who left, who stayed, who should have stayed and didn't. And for years, perhaps for most of your life, you have been narrating that story. To yourself, to others. At the dinner table at therapy at 3 a.m. when sleep won't come, the story has become your identity, your explanation, your excuse, your armor. But here is what no one tells you about carrying old stories. They are heavy, so heavy. And the longer you carry them, the more they feel like you, until you can no longer tell where the story ends and you begin. The silence of the past is one of the most radical acts of self-love available to a human being. It is the decision to stop narrating your old pain as though it were your present identity. It is not forgetting. It is not pretending it did not happen. The past happened. It was real. It mattered, but it is over. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, a private journal never meant for the world to read these words. Confine yourself to the present. 3 words. The entire practice of letting go, distilled into 3 words, confine yourself to the present, not to the version of you that made that mistake in 1998, not to the marriage that fell apart, not to the business that failed, not to the parent who wounded you so deeply you still flinch at certain tones of voice. The present, here, now, this breath. After 50, you have a choice that younger people often cannot even see yet. You can spend the next 20, 30, 40 years rehearsing your wounds, or you can lay them down, not for the people who caused them, for yourself. Think of the old mistakes you replay. The things you said that you wish you hadn't. The things you didn't say that you wish you had. The roads not taken. The chances not seized. Now ask yourself, does the replaying change anything? Does narrating it one more time heal it? Or does it simply keep the wound open? Keep you in the role of the one who was wronged, the one who failed, the one who missed their chance. Rumi wrote, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." Wisdom is not what you know. Wisdom is what you are willing to release. The ghosts of your past, they only have the power you give them. Every time you retell the story, you invite them back in. You set a place for them at your table. You let them eat your present moment, which is the only real thing you actually own. After 50, you are allowed to stop setting that place. You are allowed to let the past be what it is, finished. Complete. A chapter, not the whole book, Lao Tzu said. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. What might you become right now, today, in this second half of your life, if you stopped being the person that old story says you are? The answer is waiting for you, in the silence. Number 4, the silence of success. There is a particular kind of foolishness, and we have all been guilty of it, of announcing your dreams before they are born, of telling people your plans before they have roots, of sharing your goals before they have legs, of broadcasting your intentions to an audience that always includes people who are not rooting for you. The young do this because they are excited, because the dream feels so real, so close, so electric that they need to speak it aloud to make it feel true. But after 50, after enough dreams announced too early that withered under the weight of other people's doubt, you learn something essential: move in silence. The silence of success is the discipline of protecting your becoming. It is the understanding that not everyone deserves to witness your process, that your healing, your growth, your new venture, your fitness journey, your spiritual practice, your creative work, these are sacred. And sacred things require protection. There is a reason seeds grow underground before they break the surface. Roots have to go down before anything can go up. And roots need darkness, silence, protected space. If you dig up a seed every few days to show people how it's growing, it won't grow. Your dreams work the same way. Marcus Aurelius, a man who wielded more power than almost any human in history, practiced this daily. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Don't announce, don't perform, don't post. Don't seek validation before the work is done, just be it." After 50, you are building something different from what you were building at 30. You are building legacy, health, peace. Real wealth, not just money, but time, relationships, meaning. These things cannot be built loudly. They are built in the early morning hours, in the quiet consistency of good habits, in the daily choices nobody sees. The person who wakes at 5 to walk, who reads instead of scrolling, who saves quietly instead of spending loudly, who creates without seeking applause. That person is doing something far more radical than they realize. Lao Tzu said, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." This is not arrogance, it is discernment. The deepest knowing of yourself, of your path, of your purpose, does not need an audience. It needs your attention, your commitment, your quiet daily devotion. And Rumi, with his poet's heart, wrote, "Do not be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth. Unfold, not announce, not broadcast, not perform, unfold, quietly, deliberately, in your own time, in your own way. The second half of your life is not a sequel to the first. It is an entirely different story. And the best stories are not spoiled before their ending. Move in silence. Build in silence. Let your results be the statement that needs no explanation. Number 5, the silence of solitude. We need to talk about something that many people your age are afraid to say out loud: loneliness. After 50, the landscape of your life changes. Children leave, careers shift, friendships thin, spouses may be gone, through divorce, through death, through distance. The social scaffolding you leaned on for decades can quietly, suddenly fall away, and you find yourself alone more often than before, more deeply than before, and the world says that is something to fix, to escape, to fill with noise and activity and busyness and screens and the endless, relentless hum of distraction. But what if the world is wrong? What if the aloneness is not the problem? What if it is the answer? There is a difference, a profound difference, between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the ache of feeling disconnected, of wanting company and having none. It is real, it is painful, and it deserves compassion. But solitude is something else entirely. Solitude is the choice to be alone, and to discover in that aloneness that you are never truly alone. Every great spiritual tradition on earth points to this. Every mystic, every sage, every prophet, every philosopher who ever found something worth saying found it first in silence, in solitude, in the space where the noise of the world could not reach them. Moses went to the desert. Jesus went to the wilderness. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree. Mohammed received revelation in a cave. Rumi wrote his greatest poetry in the grief of loss and solitude. The silence did not diminish them. It revealed them. Lao Tzu wrote, "Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment." You cannot know yourself while you are constantly surrounded by the noise of what others want from you, need from you, expect from you. Self-knowledge requires time alone. Quiet time. Sacred time. After 50, that time is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. The silence of solitude is the practice of turning your aloneness into what the mystics called aloneness with God. or with the universe, if that language fits you better, or with the deepest truth of your own being, if that is where your faith lives. It is the experience of sitting quietly outside in the morning, or in a room where no one needs anything from you, and feeling, beneath all the noise and all the grief and all the questions, something stable, something ancient. Something that has been there all along, waiting patiently for you to get quiet enough to hear it. Marcus Aurelius, who spent his life surrounded by armies and senators and the constant noise of empire, retreated daily into what he called his inner citadel. That fortress inside the self that no external chaos can breach. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." His own soul, not a vacation, not a wellness retreat. Not more social plans to fill the calendar, his own soul. That retreat is available to you. Right now, it costs nothing. It requires no travel, no equipment, no membership, only the willingness to be still, to be quiet, to let the silence be enough. Rumi, writing from the depths of his own grief and solitude, said this, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." What will you hear in your quietness? Perhaps the answer to a question you've carried for years. Perhaps the voice of someone you loved and lost, still present in a way you can only access in stillness. Perhaps nothing dramatic at all, just the slow, steady reassurance that you are here, that you are alive, that the sun is rising, that the world is turning, that you are part of something vast and meaningful and real. That is enough. That is, in fact, everything. Conclusion, the most powerful choice you will ever make. We began with a bell. That great iron bell that rings and then finally goes quiet. And we said that the silence after the ringing is the most powerful part, the most alive part, the part that carries the truest meaning. You are that bell. You have rung loudly. You have earned the right to ring loudly. The decades of noise, the years of effort and argument and grief and ambition and love and loss, they were necessary. They were the ringing that shaped you into who you are. But now comes the silence. And the silence is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your truest chapter. The silence of observation, so you can see clearly without the distortion of reaction. The silence of not defending yourself, so your peace cannot be stolen by those who were never meant to understand you. The silence of the past, so you can finally, fully, live in the only moment that is real. This one. The silence of success, so what you are building has roots deep enough to last. The silence of solitude, so you can hear what has been waiting to speak to you beneath all the noise all your life. None of these silences are passive. None of them are weak. Every single one of them requires more courage than anything you have been told to admire. More strength than any argument you could win. Because choosing silence in a world addicted to noise is a revolutionary act, and you are ready for it. After 50, you do not need more information. You do not need more validation. You do not need more noise. You need more of yourself. The quiet, still, unshakable self that has been patient with you through every storm. That never left, even when you were too busy to visit. Go there. Stay there. Build your life from that place. And as you go, carry this with you. The truth of the day, the most powerful thing you can do in the second half of your life is become so deeply at peace with yourself that the noise of the world simply passes through you, like wind through an open window, moving. But not staying, touching you, but not defining you. You are the mountain. You have always been the mountain. Now, finally, it is time to know it. And if this reached something in you today, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe if you want more of this. And leave a comment below with just one word. The one silence you are going to practice first. Until next time, be still and be well.